Students, Mr. Ish here. In this quick video, we are going to introduce the idea of using CSET in an argument essay. If you recall, we've used CSET in the last essay in order to implement a strategy for integrating our sources. So now we're going to look at how does this apply for the type of persuasive, argumentative writing that we're doing in this unit. So to start, let's quickly review what CSET is. What do all the letters stand for? So C is the claim. This is the point you're trying to make within a paragraph. If we're thinking in the terms of an argument, the whole essay is advancing your position. The claim is advancing one of your reasons, okay, one of your because statements as we frame them on the outline. So claim is the first part of a CSET paragraph. Generally takes the form of the topic sentence. After that, you've got the setup. Setup is when you provide some context for the evidence that you're about to introduce. The way you do this is usually by mentioning the author's name or mentioning the source, something like that. But the goal of the setup is to set up the evidence. Evidence is a quote or a paraphrase that you take from one of your sources. So you use that to support the claim. Particularly in argumentative writing, right? The evidence is usually clearly and very specifically advancing the claim. It's proving the point that you're making. So if you recall back to our outline, we said our position is what we believe, our reason is why we believe it, and our evidence is how we know the reasons are true. Okay, so in this sense, you're using quotes and paraphrases from your sources to show how you know that the claim you're trying to make in this paragraph is true. And then finally, we've got the tie-in, the hardest part, a lot of people think, of CSET, which is where you provide some explanation of how the evidence supports the claim. And this is the hard part because it usually involves a good amount of critical thinking on your part. Okay, how does the evidence tie to the claim, or how does it help advance the claim or advance your position? So let's look at a CSET paragraph and break it down by its various parts so that you can understand this a little bit better. So here we have the claim, right? The point you're trying to make, okay, your reason. A junk food tax is an ineffective solution because it won't reduce obesity unless taken to extreme measures. So here we've got one paragraph that we can imagine is from a larger essay arguing against a junk food tax. And so this one paragraph is making the claim that it's not a good solution because it's only going to reduce obesity if we take that tax to extreme measures. Okay, so we know what point we're trying to prove. Next up, we've got the setup. Setup is the context for the evidence. So this text in blue here, one literature review published in the American Journal of Public Health. So notice what we've got, some context. We mention the source, right? It's coming from the American Journal of Public Health. We mention the type of source, a literature review. So that setup is introducing the next step, the evidence. In this case, we have a paraphrase with a tiny little quote at the end. So what did this source find? It found that a small tax on unhealthy foods is likely to have a very negligible impact on obesity rates. In order for a junk food tax to actually reduce obesity, the fees would have to be so large as to no longer be politically palatable or sustainable. So notice how the evidence does directly support the claim. Okay, the claim is that the tax won't work unless it's taken to extreme measures, and our evidence is telling us, right, that a small tax is likely to have small impact, right? And in order for a tax to actually work, it'd have to be unsustainable, basically. So then after you've given your claim, set up your evidence, and provided that evidence in the form of a quote or paraphrase, you've got to add the tie-in. This is your explanation of how the evidence supports the claim, right? You're showing the connection here. So there's lots of ways to do this. Let's just read this example to see how. People want the freedom to eat what they want. If they are used to grabbing a soda and a bag of chips on the way home from work, an extra 15 cents isn't going to stop them. An extra $3, however, is likely to move at least some people to slow down on the junk food. But as the above research shows, it's not a solution they will be happy with. Likely, the politicians who support such taxes are going to be voted out by the very same people they are trying to protect. So notice what we've done. This isn't coming from a source. This is coming from us, the writers, right? So we have taken the fact that the source is telling us that the fees have to be high before they can be effective, and we're just creating a hypothetical example. So this example helps illustrate the importance of this evidence and how it really does support our claim. Okay, now there's lots of different ways to write tie-ins, and we'll talk about different ones in future videos. One thing to point out, though, is that this paragraph isn't complete, because likely in your essay you're going to use more than one source per paragraph. So I won't read this whole thing to you, but this is the same paragraph we had before with some more information added on. You can see a whole nother source, right? We've got a little transition sentence, another setup, some more evidence, and another tie-in to show how that evidence supports things. So one thing to keep in mind is that, when you're writing an argument essay, a lot of times you're going to be using at least two sources, if not more, in order to prove each claim. And that's okay. That's to be expected. That's what makes for good research. So in this video, we have seen a basic overview of CSET and what it looks like in argumentative writing. In some future videos, we're going to break down particular tips for each of those elements of CSET. All right, I will see you in the next video.